This food is bad.
The entire first-class cabin goes silent. Not the comfortable quiet of takeoff instructions or sleeping passengers. This is the silence that happens when something breaks the unspoken rules of polite society at 35,000 feet. Flight 782 to Los Angeles hangs suspended in that moment, leather seats, champagne service, noise-canceling headphones, all meaningless, because a 7-year-old girl in a purple dress has just done the unthinkable. She's challenged authority. The plastic fork clatters against the meal tray again. Sharp. Metallic. Deliberate. Tap. 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 Every head in first class turns. The flight attendant, polished, professional, patience wearing thin, stands frozen in the aisle, her smile no longer reaching her eyes. Behind her, passengers crane necks. Whisper. Stare. And at the center of it all sits Amara Jensen, small hands gripping that fork like a weapon, her voice trembling but certain. This food is bad. Real quick, if you've made it this far, we would really appreciate you to like this video and subscribe to this channel. We pour everything into stories like this, and we've got viewers in over 120 countries watching right now. Drop a quick comment. Where are you watching from? Chicago? Los Angeles? London? Let us know in the comment. Alright, back to the story. 6 hours earlier. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Rochelle Jensen checks her phone for the third time in 5 minutes. The medical appointment confirmation. The nonprofit grant approval email. The flight itinerary showing gate C-22 in 40 minutes. Everything is there. Everything is correct. So why does her chest feel tight? Mom, I need to use the bathroom. Rochelle looks down at her daughter. Amara stands beside the carry-on bag, one hand holding the handle, the other tugging at the collar of her purple dress, the one she insisted on wearing despite Rochelle saying it was too warm for travel. 7 years old. Natural curls pulled back with white butterfly clips. Eyes that notice everything. Especially the things that could hurt her. We just went 20 minutes ago, baby. I know, but we'll go on the plane. We're boarding soon. Amara's shoulders tense. That subtle shift Rochelle has learned to read over years of hospital visits, emergency room trips, careful meal planning that sometimes still goes wrong. Her daughter has severe food sensitivities. The kind that turn restaurant mistakes into medical emergencies. The kind that make other parents look at Rochelle like she's being dramatic when she asks about ingredients. The kind that taught Amara to trust her instincts more than adults' reassurances. You okay? Rochelle asks, softer now. Amara nods. But her grip on the bag handle tightens. They board 30 minutes later, Zone 1, first-class seats courtesy of the nonprofit covering Amara's medical evaluation in Los Angeles. Rochelle has never sat in first class before. The leather feels too soft. The space feels too wide. She keeps expecting someone to tell them there's been a mistake. Nobody does. They settle into seats 3A and 3B. Amara buckles herself in, feet dangling above the floor. A flight attendant appears almost immediately, Melissa, her name tag reads, offering drinks, pillows, warm towels and sealed packages. Rochelle tries to relax. Fails. Her phone buzzes. Work email. She answers quickly, typing one-handed while Amara flips through the safety card. The flight fills. Business travelers in expensive suits. A family with noise-canceling headphones already on. A man across the aisle opening a laptop before takeoff. Normal. Routine. Unremarkable. Except for the way Amara keeps glancing toward the galley. The way she stiffens when Melissa returns pushing the meal cart. The way her nose wrinkles slightly when the trays start being distributed. Rochelle notices none of this. She's scrolling through emails about shift coverage, medical bills, the endless logistics of keeping their household running while she takes 3 days off for this trip. She doesn't notice until Amara goes completely still. Doesn't look up until the fork starts tapping. Tap. 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 Amara, stop that. But Amara doesn't stop. She lifts the bread on her sandwich. Points to the faint discoloration near the crust. Leans closer to the fruit container and inhales. Then looks at her mother with an expression Rochelle has seen before. Right before the last emergency room visit. "Mom," Amara whispers. "Something's wrong with this." The cabin hums around them. Conversations. Laughter. Ice clinking in glasses. Rochelle stares at the meal tray. Looks perfectly normal. Looks exactly like the 20 other trays being served around them. But Amara's hand trembles on the fork. And that tremor, that tiny, terrified tremor, tells Rochelle everything she needs to know. Her daughter isn't being difficult. She's being careful. And in 7 years of navigating a medical condition nobody takes seriously enough, Amara's instincts have never been wrong. Not once. Rochelle's stomach drops. "What's wrong with it?" she asks quietly. Amara points again. "It smells sour." "And look." But before she can finish, Melissa appears beside their row, professional smile firmly in place. "Everything all right here?" Rochelle hesitates. Amara doesn't. "This food is bad," she says. Louder than before. Loud enough that the conversation in the row ahead stops mid-sentence. Loud enough that the man across the aisle glances over. Loud enough that something invisible shifts in the cabin air. Melissa's smile tightens. "Sweetie, the meals were prepared fresh this morning." "It smells wrong." Amara's voice doesn't waver. Something's wrong with it. And that's when Rochelle realizes. This isn't going to end quietly. Melissa's professionalism has cracks now. Small ones. Barely visible. But Rochelle sees them in the way her smile freezes, the way her fingers tap once against the cart handle before going still. Sometimes airplane food tastes different than what kids are used to, Melissa begins. "I didn't taste it." Amara cuts her off. Polite but firm. "I smelled it. And I looked at it. And something's wrong." The man in 3C, expensive suit, salt and pepper hair, lowers his laptop screen slightly. "Watching now." Melissa's jaw tightens. "I assure you, all our meals meet strict safety standards. Can you just check it?" Rochelle interrupts. Her voice comes out quieter than she intends. Apologetic. "Why am I apologizing?" "Please." She has severe food allergies. She's been hospitalized before. She knows when something's off. Melissa's expression shifts. Not quite sympathy. Something more complicated. Something that looks like this is going to be a problem. "Of course," she says, but her tone has cooled 10 degrees. "I'll have the galley supervisor take a look." She removes the tray. Doesn't examine it. Just lifts it smoothly and continues down the aisle. Rochelle exhales. Amara doesn't. She sits rigid in her seat, staring at the empty tray table like the evidence just disappeared. "Baby, it's okay." "She didn't check it, Mom. She just took it away. She's going to have someone look." She didn't believe me. And there it is. The thing Rochelle has been trying to protect her daughter from for 7 years. The thing that happens every time Amara tries to advocate for herself. Adults don't listen to children. Especially children who challenge the system. Especially black children who challenge white authority. Rochelle wants to say that's not true. Wants to promise that speaking up always matters, that being right always counts. But the words stick in her throat. Around them, the cabin continues its choreographed dance. Row 1 receives meals. Passengers nod approval. Thank the attendants. Unwrap silverware. Row 2. Same routine. Smiles. Politeness. Everything exactly as it should be. Row 4, directly behind them, a child Amara's age accepts his tray eagerly. His mother beams. What do we say, sweetie? Thank you. The attendant's smile is genuine now. Warm. Amara watches this. Processes it. Rochelle sees her daughter's hands curl into small fists on her lap. She's comparing. She's learning that good children don't make trouble. The thought makes Rochelle's chest ache. 10 minutes pass. Melissa returns with a replacement meal. Sets it down without quite making eye contact. Fresh from a different batch, she says. Professional. Distant. Completely safe. Amara stares at it. Doesn't touch it. Honey, you need to eat something, Rochelle starts. I'm not hungry anymore. The man in 3C is still watching. His laptop closed now. Expression unreadable. Melissa moves to the next row. Her colleague, another attendant, younger, nervous, whispers something. Melissa's response is too quiet to hear, but her body language screams handled it. Rochelle picks at her own meal. It looks fine. Smells normal. But she can't shake the image of Amara's trembling hand. The certainty in her voice. Something's wrong with this. She glances at her daughter. Amara has pulled out a coloring book from her backpack, but she's not coloring. Just holding a crayon. Staring at nothing. Rochelle sets down her fork. Opens her mouth to say, what? That she believes her. That she's sorry. That the world should listen to 7-year-olds more often. Before she can speak, the man in 3C leans across the aisle. Excuse me. Rochelle turns. He's maybe 50. Wire-rimmed glasses. Kind eyes. The kind of face that suggests intelligence and patience in equal measure. I'm sorry to intrude, he says quietly. But I couldn't help overhearing. Your daughter mentioned the food smelled sour? Rochelle nods, uncertain. Did she say anything about the bread? Discoloration? Yes. How did you? I'm a microbiologist. UCLA faculty. He glances toward where Melissa disappeared. I caught a glimpse of that tray before it was removed. Your daughter was right to question it. The cabin hum seems to fade. Rochelle's pulse quickens. What do you mean? The discoloration she noticed? That pattern suggests temperature mishandling during storage. And if the fruit smelled sour? He pauses, choosing words carefully. Let's just say I wouldn't have eaten it either. Amara looks up from her coloring book. Meets the scientist's eyes. He nods to her. You have good instincts, young lady. For the first time since boarding, Amara's shoulders relax slightly. But Rochelle's tension ratchets higher. Because if this man is right, if a UCLA microbiologist is confirming her 7-year-old daughter's food safety concerns, then something much bigger than a single spoiled meal is happening. She looks around the cabin. At the other passengers eating their meals. At the attendants serving with practiced efficiency. At the smooth, normal routine of first-class service. And wonders how many other trays are wrong. How many other people are eating food that shouldn't have been served? How many emergencies are being prevented only by luck? Or by a little girl brave enough to knock a fork against her tray table? The fasten seatbelt sign chimes off. Passengers unbuckle. Stand. Stretch. Someone in row 6 laughs at something on their phone. Everything is fine. Everything is normal. Except Except Melissa is heading toward the galley with unusual speed. Except the younger attendant looks pale. Except the man in 3C is watching the cabin with the focused attention of someone conducting an unplanned experiment. And except Amara, who whispers so quietly Rochelle almost misses it. "Mom. That boy behind us. The one who was excited about his food." Rochelle glances back. The child from row 4. Still eating. Still happy. What about him? His tray looked the same as mine. The words land like stones in still water. Ripples spreading. Implications multiplying. Rochelle's hand finds Amara's. Squeezes. And in the galley, 20 feet away, raised voices begin. The galley curtain doesn't quite close all the way. Through the gap, Rochelle watches 3 flight attendants huddle around a meal cart. Their voices rise and fall, too muffled to make out words, but the tension carries clearly. Melissa gestures sharply. The younger attendant shakes her head. A third crew member, older, supervisor maybe, examines something on one of the trays. Passengers are noticing now. The woman in 2B cranes her neck. "Is everything okay back there?" Nobody answers. The man in 3C has his phone out. Not making a call. Taking notes maybe. His expression has shifted from curious to concerned. Amara sits perfectly still, coloring book forgotten, watching the galley with the intensity of someone who knows they're right but hasn't been vindicated yet. That's when Melissa emerges. Her professional mask is back in place, but something underneath has shifted. She moves down the aisle with purpose, stopping at row 1. "Excuse me, sir. I'm going to need to collect your meal tray." The businessman looks up, startled. "I'm not finished. I apologize for the inconvenience. We're conducting a routine inspection." "A routine inspection during service?" Melissa's smile doesn't waver. "Just a precaution, sir. We'll bring a replacement momentarily." She takes the tray. Doesn't wait for permission. Moves to row 2. Same script. Same firm politeness. Same growing confusion from passengers. By row 4, the happy child and his mother, the cabin is buzzing. "What's going on?" the mother asks. "Is there a problem with the food?" "Just a precaution, ma'am." "But you said it was fine." "We're being thorough." Melissa's voice has an edge now. "I'll bring fresh meals shortly." She reaches for the boy's tray. He's holding his sandwich, about to take another bite. Melissa gently but firmly removes it from his hand. The child's face crumples. His mother's hardens. "I want to speak to the captain," the mother says. Not loud, but absolute. Melissa's jaw tightens. "That won't be necessary. My son was eating that. If there's a safety issue, I have a right to know." Other passengers echo the sentiment. "What's wrong with the food? Should we be concerned? I already ate half of mine." The cabin pressure, literal and metaphorical, shifts. Melissa raises her voice slightly. "Please remain calm. There is no confirmed issue. We're simply being cautious." "Cautious about what?" The businessman from row 1. Standing now. "You don't collect meals mid-flight for no reason." The older supervisor appears from the galley. Her name tag reads Sandra, lead flight attendant. She has the bearing of someone used to managing crises. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're conducting a standard quality check on today's catering service. Out of an abundance of caution, we'll be serving replacement meals from our backup inventory. There's no cause for alarm." "Then why do you look alarmed?" someone mutters. Sandra's smile tightens. Her eyes scan the cabin and land on Amara. For just a moment, their gazes lock. Sandra's expression flickers. Something like recognition. Or respect. Then she turns to Melissa. Collect all first-class meal trays. Every one. Now. The collection takes 8 minutes. 8 minutes of awkward silence broken only by the clatter of plastic and metal. Of passengers exchanging worried glances. Of phones being pulled out, some to check flight status, others to text loved ones, a few to record what's happening. The man in 3C does all three. When Melissa reaches row 3, she doesn't meet Rochelle's eyes. Doesn't acknowledge Amara. Just takes the untouched replacement meal and moves on. But as she passes, Amara speaks. Clear. Calm. Loud enough to carry. I told you it was bad. Melissa's shoulders stiffen. She doesn't respond. Doesn't need to. Because every passenger in first class heard. Every passenger in first class is now looking at the 7-year-old girl in the purple dress. The girl who knocked her fork against a tray table. The girl who challenged authority. The girl who was right. Rochelle squeezes her daughter's hand. Amara squeezes back. And in that moment, something shifts in the cabin dynamic. The little girl isn't making a scene anymore. She's the reason they might be safe. The intercom crackles. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. The cabin goes silent. We've been made aware of a potential quality concern with today's catering service. Out of an abundance of caution, we're conducting a full inspection of all meal service items. We're also in contact with our operations team on the ground. Pause. I want to assure you that there is no immediate danger. However, we will not be serving any additional meals from today's catering supply. Packaged snacks and beverages remain available. Another pause. We appreciate your patience and understanding. The intercom clicks off. The cabin erupts. Not in panic. In questions. Demands. Accusations. This is unacceptable. I need to know what I ate. My child already ate. Someone should call the airline. Through it all, Amara sits quietly. She's pulled her knees up to her chest. Made herself small again. Rochelle wraps an arm around her. You okay? Did I cause this? Amara whispers. No, baby. You prevented this. But everyone's upset. Everyone's safe. Because you spoke up. Amara doesn't look convinced. Rochelle understands why. Because this is the paradox she's been trying to teach her daughter to navigate for 7 years. The world needs you to speak up. But the world will punish you for speaking up. Your voice matters. But your voice will make people uncomfortable. You have to be brave. But being brave will cost you. She pulls Amara closer. Wishes she had better answers. Sandra reappears from the galley. Her professional composure has cracks now. She approaches row 3. Kneels beside Amara's seat. Sweetheart, she says quietly. Can you tell me exactly what you noticed about your meal? Amara glances at Rochelle. Rochelle nods. The bread had brown spots. Not mold. But discoloration. Like it had been warm, then cold, then warm again. She pauses. And the fruit smelled sour. Not rotten. But wrong. Like when our milk at home is about to go bad but hasn't yet. Sandra listens. Really listens. Anything else? The sandwich filling looked separated. Like oil and water. The man in 3C leans over. That's a sign of temperature fluctuation during storage. Emulsions break down when. Sandra holds up a hand. Thank you, sir. I believe you. She looks at Amara. You probably just saved a lot of people from getting very sick. Amara's eyes widen. Really? Really? Sandra stands. Addresses the cabin. We're going to need to file a detailed incident report. If anyone experienced any symptoms after eating, nausea, stomach pain, anything unusual, please alert a crew member immediately. Silence. Then the businessman from row 1, I ate most of mine. I feel fine. But. He pauses. My stomach has been a little off. I assumed it was turbulence. A woman in row 5, me too. Slight cramping. The mother from row 4, my son complained his tummy hurt right before you collected the tray. I thought he was just being fussy. Sandra's face goes pale. She turns to Melissa. Get me the catering manifest. Now. And call the head office. This is a full ground stop on this supplier. Melissa nods. Hurries toward the cockpit. The cabin hum changes frequency. From annoyance to understanding. From anger to gratitude. Someone starts clapping. Slowly. Tentatively. Others join. And within seconds, the entire first-class cabin is applauding. For a 7-year-old girl who knocked a plastic fork against a tray table. Who refused to be dismissed. Who trusted her instincts over adult authority. Who stopped an entire plane. Rochelle's eyes burn. Amara's cheeks flush. And the man in 3C smiles. Well done, young lady, he says. Very well done indeed. The applause fades, but the energy doesn't. Passengers lean across aisles now, introducing themselves to Amara. Thanking her. Asking her name. She's very observant, Rochelle says for the 3rd time, pride and protectiveness warring in her voice. Observant? The businessman from row 1 laughs. She's a hero. My wife has a compromised immune system. If I'd brought contaminated food home. He doesn't finish. Just shakes his head. Thank you, sweetheart. Really? Amara nods shyly, overwhelmed. The man in 3C, Dr. Marcus Chen, he'd introduced himself, leans closer to Rochelle. Lowers his voice. Does your daughter have formal training in food safety? Rochelle almost laughs. She's 7. That makes this more remarkable. He glances at Amara. Those observations, temperature fluctuation patterns, emulsion breakdown, off-gassing detection, those are advanced concepts. Most adults wouldn't notice. She's had to learn. Rochelle's throat tightens. Severe food sensitivities since she was 3. 2 hospitalizations from cross-contamination. She's learned to be careful. And the world is safer for it. Dr. Chen pulls out his wallet. Extracts a business card. I run a pediatric food allergy research program at UCLA. If you're interested, I'd love to discuss participating in our observational studies. Your daughter's sensory acuity is exceptional. Rochelle takes the card. Stares at it. Dr. Marcus Chen, Ph.D. UCLA Food Science and Nutrition. Pediatric Allergy Research Initiative. We're actually flying to LA for a medical evaluation, she says slowly. Then fate has excellent timing. He smiles. Think about it. No pressure. But gifts like hers should be supported, not just managed. Before Rochelle can respond, Sandra returns. She carries a tablet now. Official-looking forms displayed on screen. Ms. Jensen? I need to collect some information for our incident report. She sits in the empty seat across the aisle. First, I want to personally thank your daughter. The catering supervisor just confirmed temperature logging irregularities in this morning's first-class meal prep. What Amara identified. Sandra pauses. She may have prevented a mass food poisoning incident. Rochelle's stomach drops. Mass? We serve 300 first-class meals daily across 6 morning flights. This batch was scheduled for all of them. Sandra's expression is grim. If passengers had consumed contaminated food mid-flight, multiple aircraft would have faced medical emergencies simultaneously. Crews, pilots, passengers. The implications settle like lead. Rochelle looks at her daughter. Amara is coloring again, trying to disappear into normalcy while adults discuss consequences too big for a 7-year-old to carry. What happens now? Rochelle asks. Full investigation. The catering company will be suspended pending review. We're documenting everything: passenger statements, medical complaints, the timeline of events. Sandra glances at Amara. Your daughter's account will be central to the case. She's 7. I understand. We'll handle interviews age appropriately. But her observations triggered our protocol. That matters legally. Rochelle's protective instincts flare. Will this be public? Her name? Not without your consent. Minors are protected in incident reports. Sandra softens. But honestly, this story will get out. Passengers are already posting on social media. You should prepare for attention. As if on cue, phones around the cabin buzz. Text messages arriving. News alerts updating. The digital age works fast. The mother from row 4 appears at their row. I just want to say thank you. My son has asthma. If he'd gotten food poisoning at altitude. Her voice breaks. You saved him. Both of you. She hugs Amara. Amara stiffens, and used to being touched by strangers, but doesn't pull away. Rochelle blinks back tears. The rest of the flight passes in surreal slow motion. Sandra brings them complimentary snacks, sealed packages, factory-wrapped, safe. Dr. Chen shares research articles about pediatric food sensitivity detection on his tablet. Other passengers stop by periodically. Some to thank Amara. Others just to see the little girl who stopped the plane. Amara handles it with quiet grace. But Rochelle sees the toll. The way her daughter's shoulders creep higher with each interaction. The way her coloring becomes more aggressive. The way she keeps glancing toward the window like she wishes she could fly out of the attention. She did something brave. Now the world wants something from her. Rochelle recognizes the pattern. It's what happened after Amara's first hospitalization. After the second. After every time she advocated for herself and adults made it about them. The gratitude feels good. But it's also heavy. Because now Amara isn't just a little girl with food sensitivities. She's a symbol. A story. A lesson. And Rochelle doesn't know how to protect her from that. 2 hours before landing, the intercom crackles again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain. I wanted to provide an update on our earlier catering concern. The cabin quiets. Our ground operations team has conducted a full review. The meal service in question showed clear temperature violations during transport. Multiple trays tested positive for bacterial growth at levels that would have caused significant illness. Gasps. Thanks to the alertness of one of our young passengers, he pauses. Well, let's just say her courage prevented what could have been a very serious situation. On behalf of the entire crew, thank you. Applause erupts again. Louder this time. Sustained. Amara slides lower in her seat. I just want to color, Mom, she whispers. Rochelle wraps an arm around her. I know, baby. Almost there. But she's lying. Because this isn't almost over. This is just beginning. As Flight 782 begins its descent into Los Angeles, Rochelle's phone, finally back in service, explodes with notifications. Voicemails from unknown numbers. Emails from news outlets. Text messages from the nonprofit coordinator. Are you okay? Seeing reports about your flight. Call me. From her sister. You're on the news. From her supervisor at work. Someone posted a video of Amara. It's going viral. Rochelle's hands shake as she scrolls. There, on Twitter, already 50,000 likes. Little girl stops airplane food poisoning. Watch her stand up to flight attendant. This is what courage looks like. Folded hands, raised fist. The video is shaky. Filmed from 3 rows back. But it clearly shows Amara knocking her fork against the tray. Shows Melissa's dismissive response. Shows Amara's small voice, "This food is bad." The comments scroll endlessly. That baby saved lives. This is why we need to listen to children. Flight attendant should be ashamed. Someone give this little girl a medal. Rochelle's vision blurs. She looks at her daughter. Amara is asleep now, head against the window, purple dress wrinkled, butterfly clips crooked. She looks 7. She looks small. She looks like a child who just wanted to be safe. And the world has decided to make her something else. The plane touches down. Lax. Sunshine through oval windows. The fasten seatbelt sign chimes off. Passengers stand. Gather belongings. Prepare to disembark. Sandra appears one more time. "Miss Jensen? There are airline representatives waiting at the gate. They'd like to speak with you briefly. Just formalities." Rochelle nods, numb. Amara wakes as they taxi. Rubs her eyes. "Are we there?" "We're there, baby." They gather their things. Join the line shuffling toward the exit. As they reach the door, the entire cabin crew stands waiting. Melissa steps forward. She looks tired. Humbled. "Amara," she says quietly. "I owe you an apology. I should have listened immediately. You were right, and I was wrong. I'm sorry." Amara considers this. Then nods. "It's okay. Adults make mistakes too." Melissa's eyes water. Sandra hands Rochelle a folder. Vouchers. Full flight refund. Complimentary future travel. And... She pauses. "A letter for your records. In case you need documentation of today's events." "Thank you." They step into the jetway. Behind them, spontaneous applause follows. Ahead, the terminal awaits. And beyond that, unknown territory. Media. Recognition. Attention. All because a 7-year-old girl knocked a plastic fork against a tray table and refused to be dismissed. As they enter the terminal, 2 things happen simultaneously. A man in a suit approaches. "Ms. Jensen? I'm with Airline Passenger Services. If you have a moment." And Rochelle's phone rings. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer. Then does. "Hello? Ms. Jensen? This is Rebecca Tran with the Los Angeles Times. We're running a story about Flight 782. Would you be willing to comment on?" Rochelle hangs up. The phone rings again immediately. Different number. She silences it. Amara tugs her hand. "Mom? What's happening?" Rochelle kneels. Meets her daughter's eyes. "Remember how I always tell you that speaking up matters?" Amara nods. "Well, a lot of people heard you today. And now they want to hear more. Do I have to talk to them?" "No, baby. You never have to talk to anyone you don't want to." Amara relaxes slightly. The man in the suit clears his throat. "If you need a private area to collect yourselves, we have a lounge available." "Thank you," Rochelle says. "That would be helpful." He leads them down a quiet corridor. Away from the crowds. Away from the phones. Away from the sudden, overwhelming weight of doing the right thing. And as they walk, Rochelle thinks about Dr. Chen's card in her pocket. About the folder of vouchers and letters. About the viral videos spreading across the internet. About her 7-year-old daughter who just wanted to be safe. And became something else entirely. A hero. A symbol. A story the world decided it needed. Whether she wanted to be one or not. The private lounge is too quiet. Leather chairs. Complimentary water bottles. A television muted in the corner showing CNN. Rochelle sinks into a chair while Amara explores the space, running her fingers along the furniture, testing the firmness of the couch cushions, seeking comfort in tactile normalcy. The airline representative, his name is David, he'd said, sits across from them with a tablet and apologetic expression. First, let me reiterate how grateful we are for your daughter's vigilance. He speaks in rehearsed corporate cadence. Without her observation, we would have faced a catastrophic public health incident. Rochelle nods. Doesn't trust herself to speak yet. We're preparing a full compensation package, refunds, travel vouchers, and a monetary acknowledgement of the distress this situation caused. I don't want money, Rochelle says quietly. I want to know if anyone got sick. David hesitates. 6 passengers on this flight reported mild gastrointestinal symptoms. All were evaluated by paramedics upon landing. None required hospitalization. What about the other flights? Another pause. Longer. 2 other aircraft received meals from the same batch. One departed 30 minutes after yours. The other 20 minutes before. Rochelle's stomach clenches. How many people ate? The earlier flight, David checks his tablet. 43 passengers consumed meals before crew was alerted to the contamination. 12 have reported symptoms. 3 were transported to area hospitals for observation. Stable, but experiencing severe reactions. The room tilts slightly. 43 people. 12 sick. 3 hospitalized. All because Amara spoke up 30 minutes earlier than they did. In the later flight? Rochelle manages. Grounded before meal service began. All meals destroyed. So Amara's flight, specifically, Amara's voice, was the breaking point. The moment that stopped the pattern. The moment that saved the 3rd plane and everyone on it. Rochelle looks at her daughter. Amara is stacking water bottles into a precarious tower, oblivious to the math of catastrophe unfolding in adult conversation. What happens now? Rochelle asks. Full investigation. The catering company's license will be suspended. Health department inspections. Possible criminal negligence charges if evidence shows willful violations. I meant what happens to us. David's expression shifts. That's complicated. The story is already public. Multiple passengers posted videos and photos. One video in particular, he pulls up his tablet. Shows her. It's the Twitter video she saw on the plane. Except now it has 2.3 million views. 487,000 likes. 93,000 retweets. The comments have multiplied into thousands. Rochelle scrolls, numb. This child is braver than most adults. Someone protect her at all costs. The flight attendant's dismissive attitude is exactly why kids stop speaking up. Black girls have to fight harder to be heard, and she did it. Give this baby all the awards. And darker ones. Staged for attention. Mother probably coached her. Convenient that cameras were rolling. Rochelle stops scrolling. Hands the tablet back. We can provide media training, David offers. Help you navigate interviews if you choose to speak publicly. Or we can issue a statement on your behalf requesting privacy. I need to think. Of course. Take your time. Though I should mention, he hesitates. Several news outlets are already in the terminal. Security is keeping them away from this lounge, but once you leave protected areas, the implication hangs heavy. They're trapped. Not by the airline. By the story. By the public's sudden, insatiable need to know everything about the little black girl who stopped a plane. Amara's water bottle tower collapses. She rebuilds it immediately, undeterred. Rochelle watches her daughter's small hands work. Methodical. Focused. Finding order in chaos. She's 7. She should be thinking about dolls and cartoons and whether we'll have time to go to the beach. Instead, she's the center of a viral news cycle she doesn't understand. David's phone buzzes. He glances at it, then stands. I'll give you privacy. Security will escort you whenever you're ready to proceed. We've arranged a car to your hotel, separate exit, no media access. Thank you. He leaves. The room falls silent except for the quiet sound of plastic bottles stacking. Rochelle pulls out her phone. 17 missed calls. 42 text messages. 3 voicemails from her mother. She calls back. Baby, are you okay? Her mother's voice cracks. I saw the news. I saw the video. Is Amara hurt? Are you? We're fine, Mama. We're safe. The news is saying she saved hundreds of people. I don't know about hundreds. It's everywhere, Ro. Every channel. 7-year-old stops food poisoning outbreak. Little girl's courage saves airplane passengers. They're calling her a hero. Rochelle closes her eyes. She's just a little girl who wanted to be safe. And now the whole world knows her name. That's what breaks her. The whole world knows her name. Amara Jensen. 7 years old. Purple dress. Butterfly clips. Food sensitivities. Black. Brave. Small. Exposed. Mama, I don't know what to do, Rochelle whispers. You protect her. Same as you always have. How do I protect her from this? Silence. Because they both know the answer. You can't. Once the world decides you're a story, protection becomes impossible. You can only manage the damage. Amara appears beside Rochelle's chair. Climbs into her lap despite being too big for it. Curls against her mother's chest. Are you mad at me? She asks quietly. What? No. Never. Everyone's talking about me. I heard the man say my name is on the news. Rochelle wraps her arms tighter. You didn't do anything wrong, baby. You did something brave. Brave feels scary. I know. I just didn't want to get sick. And now other people won't get sick either. Because of you. Amara processes this. The boy behind us? With the sandwich? Him too. Good. She pauses. But I still wish I could have just eaten my snack and colored. Rochelle's heart breaks cleanly. Me too, baby. Me too. They sit like that for 20 minutes. Eventually, David returns. Miss Jensen? I have some additional news. The CDC has opened an investigation into the catering facility. They're requesting to interview Amara. Absolutely not. They assured me it would be age-appropriate. She's 7. The answer is no. David nods. Understood. I'll communicate that. He pauses. There's something else. A scholarship foundation saw the story. They want to establish an education fund in Amara's name. Full college tuition, fees, housing. Stop. Rochelle stands, still holding Amara. Just stop. We came to Los Angeles for a medical appointment. That's all. We're not looking for attention or money or scholarships or media interviews. We just want to get to our hotel and sleep. David raises his hands. I understand. I apologize. The car is ready whenever you are. Rochelle takes a breath. Forces calm. Thank you. We'll go now. The private exit leads through a service corridor. Concrete floors. Fluorescent lights. No windows. Security escorts them, 2 officers creating a protective barrier. They emerge into blinding California sunshine. A black car waits, engine running. The driver opens the door. They climb in. As the car pulls away from LAX, Rochelle's phone buzzes one more time. A text from Dr. Chen. I saw the news. If you need someone who understands food science advocacy, I'm here. No pressure. Just support. She doesn't respond. Can't. Because the weight of everything, the viral video, the scholarship offers, the CDC investigation, the 3 hospitalized passengers, the 2.3 million views, the world's sudden obsessive interest in her 7-year-old daughter, is crushing the air from her lungs. Amara leans against her. Mom? Are we still going to the doctor tomorrow? Yes, baby. Good. I just want things to be normal. Rochelle presses her lips to Amara's curls. Doesn't tell her that normal ended the moment she knocked that fork against a tray table. Doesn't tell her that the world has decided she's not allowed to be just a little girl anymore. Doesn't tell her that courage has consequences even when you're right. Instead, she just holds her. And watches Los Angeles scroll past the tinted windows. And wonders what they've actually landed in. Because something tells her, something deep and certain, that this isn't the end of the story. It's just the moment the plane stopped. But the real turbulence? That's still coming. The hotel room feels like sanctuary. 2 queen beds. Blackout curtains. Silence. Rochelle locks the door, engages the deadbolt, and finally exhales. Amara immediately claims the bed nearest the window, unpacking her coloring books with ritualistic precision. Organization as emotional armor. Rochelle's phone hasn't stopped buzzing since they left the airport. She silences it. Powers it off. Buries it in her suitcase. Can we order room service? Amara asks. The irony isn't lost on Rochelle. What do you want? Mac and cheese. The plain kind. Nothing fancy. I'll check the ingredients first. I know, Mom. They order. Wait. When it arrives, Rochelle inspects every component while the delivery person shifts awkwardly in the doorway. Any nuts in the kitchen? We're not free, ma'am. Cross-contamination protocols? Separate prep areas for allergen-sensitive meals. Thank you. She tips generously. Closes the door. Tests a small bite herself before letting Amara eat. Only then does she relax. Slightly. They're halfway through dinner when someone knocks. Rochelle freezes. Room service, a muffled voice calls. We already got our order. I have a delivery. From airline passenger services. Rochelle approaches the door cautiously. Peers through the peephole. A woman in hotel uniform holds a large basket wrapped in cellophane. Just leave it outside, please. I need a signature, ma'am. Rochelle cracks the door, chain still engaged. The woman holds up an iPad. Standard protocol. Sorry for the inconvenience. Rochelle signs quickly. Takes the basket. Closes the door. Inside the cellophane, gourmet snacks, stuffed animals, a handwritten note on airline letterhead. Dear Amara. Thank you for your courage. You made our skies safer. The entire Flight 782 crew. Beneath that, individual signatures. Including Melissa's. Rochelle's throat tightens. She shows Amara. Amara reads it slowly, sounding out the bigger words. Then sets it aside and returns to her mac and cheese. Don't you want to keep it? Rochelle asks. I guess. They're thanking you, baby. I know. Amara pushes noodles around her plate. But it feels weird. I didn't want to be a hero. I just didn't want to be sick. Those things can be the same. Amara considers this. Then shrugs. Can I watch cartoons? They fall asleep to SpongeBob. Rochelle wakes at 3 a.m. to her daughter crying. Not loud. Just quiet tears in the dark. Baby? What's wrong? I had a bad dream. Rochelle climbs into Amara's bed. Pulls her close. Tell me. Everyone on the plane got sick. And it was my fault because I was too scared to speak up loud enough the first time. That's not what happened. But what if I hadn't said anything at all? What if I'd just eaten it because I was embarrassed? But you didn't. But I could have. Amara's voice breaks. I almost did. When the flight attendant said I was being fussy, I almost stopped. I almost believed her instead of myself. And there it is. The real weight. Not just the courage to speak, but the near miss of silence. The terrifying knowledge of how easily she could have swallowed her certainty along with contaminated food. How close the world came to disaster. How thin the line between catastrophe and safety. How much rested on a 7-year-old's willingness to knock a plastic fork against a tray table. Rochelle holds her tighter. But you trusted yourself. That's what matters. It's scary, Mom. Trusting myself when adults say I'm wrong. I know, baby. It's the scariest thing in the world. They lie in the dark together. Outside, Los Angeles hums with late-night traffic. Inside, a little girl carries the weight of hundreds of lives she didn't know she was saving. Mom? Yeah? Do you think the other kids, the ones on the other planes, do you think they know I helped them? Maybe not. But they're safe. That's what counts. Even if they don't know my name? Especially if they don't know your name. Amara relaxes slightly. I like that better. Helping without everyone watching. Rochelle kisses her forehead. Then that's how we'll do this. However you want. Promise? Promise. But even as she says it, Rochelle knows it's a lie. Because the world already has Amara's name. Already has her face. Already has decided what her story means. And promises can't protect against that. Morning comes too fast. Rochelle turns on her phone. Instantly regrets it. 73 notifications. She scrolls through enough to get the picture. The Los Angeles Times ran a front-page story. 7-year-old's instincts stop airline disaster. Good Morning America aired a segment. They used the viral video and interviewed Dr. Chen, who praised Amara's remarkable observational capacity. The airline issued a formal statement thanking a young passenger whose diligence prevented a serious public health incident. 3 major scholarship funds announced they're contributing to Amara's education. And everywhere, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the video loops endlessly. That moment of defiance. That small voice saying, "This food is bad." That fork tapping against plastic. Over and over. 2 million views becomes 3 million becomes 5 million. The internet has decided Amara is theirs now. Rochelle's hands shake. She puts the phone down. Makes coffee from the in-room machine. Tries to pretend today is just about a medical appointment. Tries to pretend they can still be normal. Tries to pretend the world will let them. The knock comes at 9 a.m. Ms. Jensen? It's David from Airline Services. I have your escort ready for this morning's appointment. She opens the door. David stands with 2 security personnel and an apologetic expression. "What's this?" Rochelle asks. "We've been made aware of media presence outside the hotel. We're providing security escort to ensure you can attend your appointment without harassment." "Media? How did they know where we're staying?" David's silence is answer enough. "Someone leaked it. Maybe accidentally. Maybe deliberately. Either way, privacy is gone. There's also this." David hands her an envelope. "Formal requests for interviews. Today Show. Ellen. Local news. A documentary filmmaker. We've vetted them all, but the decision is entirely yours." Rochelle takes the envelope. Doesn't open it. "And one more thing." David hesitates. "The CDC called again. They're not requesting an interview anymore. They're strongly recommending one. For the official record. They've assured me it will be brief and age-appropriate." Define brief. 30 minutes maximum. With breaks if needed. You'd be present the entire time. Rochelle looks at Amara, who's watching cartoons and pretending not to listen. "I need to discuss it with my daughter." "Of course. We have a 2 p.m. slot reserved if you decide to proceed." After David leaves, Rochelle sits beside Amara on the bed. "You heard?" Amara nods. "What do you think? Do I have to?" "No. Never. This is your choice." Amara is quiet for a long moment. Then, "Will it help other kids not get sick?" "Maybe. They want to understand what you noticed so they can teach other people." "Like making sure it doesn't happen again?" "Exactly like that." Amara considers. "Okay. But only if you stay with me. I won't leave your side. And only 30 minutes. Not a second longer. And no cameras. I'll make sure." Amara nods. "Then okay." And just like that, the decision is made. By a 7-year-old who understands responsibility better than most adults. Who knows that courage isn't just speaking up once. It's speaking up again. And again. Until the lesson lands. Until the system changes. Until other children are safer. Even when you just want to color and watch cartoons and be normal. The medical appointment goes perfectly. Dr. Sarah Okonkwo is everything they hoped for: patient, thorough, genuinely interested in Amara's sensitivities rather than dismissive. "Your observational skills are remarkable," Dr. Okonkwo says after the examination. "Most children your age couldn't articulate sensory information with this precision." Amara shrugs. "I just pay attention. That's a gift." The testing takes 2 hours. Blood work. Skin sensitivity panels. Detailed history. When it's done, Dr. Okonkwo sits with them in her office. "I'm going to be honest, this is one of the most complex sensitivity profiles I've seen in pediatric cases. But it's also manageable with proper protocols." She outlines a plan. Specialists. Follow-up testing. Resources. Then pauses. "I saw the news. About the flight." Rochelle tenses. "We're trying to keep that separate from why we're here." "I understand. But I want you to know," Dr. Okonkwo looks at Amara. "What you did on that plane. That's exactly the kind of self-advocacy that will keep you safe your whole life. Never lose that." Amara nods seriously. "I'll try." After they leave, Rochelle checks her phone. Message from Dr. Chen. "How did the appointment go? Also, I may have mentioned your daughter to some colleagues. Several research programs want to offer support. No strings. Just resources. Details attached." She opens the attachment. 6 different programs. Food allergy research. Pediatric nutrition studies. sensory development analysis. All offering free evaluations, ongoing support, and, in 3 cases, small stipends for participation. Rochelle's vision blurs. These are resources they could never afford. Resources that could change Amara's life. All because she knocked a fork against a tray table. The CDC interview happens in a hotel conference room. 2 investigators, a man and woman, both in business casual, both carefully non-threatening. They keep their promise. 30 minutes. Gentle questions. Rochelle present. Amara, can you tell us what made you first think something was wrong with your food? The smell. Can you describe it? Like when fruit sits in a hot car. Not rotten yet, but turning. And the bread? Brown spots. Not mold, but like it got warm and cold too many times. How did you know that means the food was unsafe? Because it happened to our groceries once. When the power went out, Mom had to throw everything away. The investigators exchange glances. Did the flight attendant believe you right away? Amara hesitates. Rochelle squeezes her hand. No, Amara says quietly. She said I was being fussy. How did that make you feel? Scared. Because I thought maybe I was wrong. But also scared because I thought maybe I was right and nobody would listen. The woman investigator's expression softens. But you kept speaking up anyway. I didn't want to get sick. And I didn't want my mom to worry. They ask a few more questions. Technical details about what she observed, when, in what sequence. Amara answers each one with remarkable precision. At minute 28, she looks at her mother. I'm tired now. We're done, Rochelle says immediately. The investigators don't argue. Thank you, Amara. Your information is going to help us strengthen food safety protocols across the entire aviation industry. Amara nods. Can I go watch TV now? That evening, back in their hotel room, Rochelle's phone rings. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer. Then recognizes the area code. Atlanta. Home. Hello? Ms. Jensen? This is Principal Matthews from Amara's school. Rochelle's stomach drops. Is something wrong? No. Actually, I'm calling with good news. We've been following the coverage of what happened. The PTA wants to organize a welcome home assembly. Honor Amara's courage. Maybe have her speak to the other students about trusting themselves. She's 7. We'd keep it age appropriate. No. Rochelle's voice is firm. Absolutely not. We appreciate the thought, but Amara's not a motivational speaker. She's a 2nd grader who wants to go back to normal. Silence. I understand, Principal Matthews says slowly. But Ms. Jensen, her story is inspiring people. Children especially. There's educational value. The answer is no. Parents are asking. Then tell them no. Amara did something brave, not something performative. She doesn't owe anyone a speech. After she hangs up, guilt creeps in. Is she protecting Amara? Or limiting her? Is refusing opportunities actually helping? Or hurting? She doesn't know anymore. Amara appears from the bathroom in pajamas. Who was that? Your principal. Asking about an assembly. What kind of assembly? The kind where you talk about what happened on the plane. Amara's face scrunches. I don't want to do that. I told them no. Good. She climbs into bed. Can we go home tomorrow? Day after tomorrow. One more appointment, then we fly home. Different airline? Different airline. Good. Rochelle tucks her in. You okay, baby? I just want things to go back to normal. I know. Will they? Rochelle wants to say yes. Wants to promise that the attention will fade, the media will move on, life will resume its previous patterns. But she's learned something in the past 48 hours. Some moments change you. Some moments change everything. And normal? Normal is gone. We'll figure it out, she says instead. Together. Amara accepts this. Closes her eyes. Within minutes, she's asleep. Rochelle sits on her own bed, phone in hand, scrolling through messages she hasn't answered. Scholarship offers. Interview requests. Research program invitations. And one message from her supervisor. Your job is waiting when you're ready. But take your time. You've got a lot to process. She does. More than she ever imagined. Because her daughter stopped a plane. And somehow that means their entire world has to rearrange itself. The letter arrives by courier at 9 a.m. Rochelle signs for it, confused. They're flying home this afternoon. Who sends mail to a hotel? The envelope is heavy. Official. Return address, Chambers and Associates, Aviation Law. She opens it slowly. Flight 782 incident, witness statement request. Her hands go cold as she reads. Dear Ms. Jensen, we represent several passengers aboard Flight 782 who suffered injuries as a result of consuming contaminated food. Our investigation has revealed serious negligence by the catering contractor, including willful violation of temperature storage protocols, falsified safety inspection records dating back 6 months, knowledge of equipment malfunctions that were ignored to meet contract deadlines, previous complaints that were suppressed. Your daughter's observations are central to establishing the timeline and scope of this negligence. We are requesting her cooperation in providing a detailed statement for civil proceedings. Please contact our office at your earliest convenience to schedule a deposition. Rochelle reads it 3 times. Civil proceedings. Deposition. Your daughter's observations are central. She keeps reading. Additionally, preliminary investigation suggests the catering company may have engaged in a pattern of cost-cutting measures that compromised safety across multiple airline contracts. If confirmed, this could affect thousands of passengers nationwide. Your daughter may be a key witness in what could become a class action lawsuit. The paper trembles in her hands. This isn't just about one flight anymore. This is about a systemic failure. And somehow, Amara is at the center of it. She calls the number on the letterhead. A paralegal answers. Transfers her to attorney James Chambers. Ms. Jensen. Thank you for calling so quickly. My daughter is 7 years old. I understand. We have extensive experience with minor witnesses. Everything would be age-appropriate, supervised, and how long would this last? This lawsuit? Silence. These cases typically take 18 months to 2 years to resolve. Possibly longer if it goes to trial. 2 years? We'd minimize your daughter's involvement. But her initial observations are crucial. Without her testimony, other people will get hurt, Rochelle finishes. Potentially, yes. The catering company services 11 major airlines. If their practices are as negligent as evidence suggests. He doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. Rochelle closes her eyes. Can I think about it? Of course. But Ms. Jensen, the passengers who were hospitalized. One is a 6-year-old child. Another is a pregnant woman. They're facing serious medical complications because of contaminated food this company knew was unsafe. The guilt lands like a physical blow. I'll call you back, Rochelle manages. She hangs up. Sits on the hotel bed. Stares at the letter. 2 years. Depositions. Testimony. Her 7-year-old daughter reliving this moment over and over for lawyers and judges and juries. But on the other side of that equation, other children. Other families. Other people who shouldn't have to wonder if their airplane food is safe. When did doing the right thing become so complicated? Amara emerges from the bathroom, toothbrushing complete. "We need to leave for the airport in an hour," Rochelle says, trying to sound normal. "Okay." Amara starts packing her coloring books. Organizing them by color. Purple books first, then blue, then green. Order. Control. Safety. "Baby? Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Do you remember everything about what happened on the plane? The food, the smell, all the details?" Amara pauses mid-organization. "Yeah." "Why?" "Some people, lawyers, they want to ask you about it. For a case against the company that made the bad food. Like getting in trouble for doing something wrong?" "Exactly like that." "Good. They should get in trouble. But it means you'd have to answer a lot of questions. Maybe more than once. And it might take a long time." Amara considers this. Will it stop them from giving other people bad food? Maybe. Then okay. "Amara, this isn't a small thing. This could take years." "Mom." Amara looks up. Her expression is older than 7. "If I don't tell them what happened, the bad people might do it again. Right?" "Right. Then I have to tell them. Even if it's hard." And there it is. Moral clarity from a 2nd grader. Courage from someone who should be worried about homework and playground politics. Rochelle's eyes burn. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." "Okay. Then we'll do it. Together." Together, Amara agrees. She returns to organizing her books. Rochelle returns to the letter. And wonders when her daughter became braver than she is. They're at the airport, different airline, as promised, when Rochelle's phone rings. "David from Airline Services." "Ms. Jensen. I wanted to give you a heads up. The CDC just released their preliminary findings." "Already?" "They fast-tracked it due to public interest. The catering facility has been shut down. Full license revocation. Criminal investigation opened." Rochelle's knees weaken. "Criminal? Willful endangerment. Document falsification. The evidence is extensive." He pauses. "Your daughter's interview was cited specifically in the report. Her observations helped establish timeline and scope. She's 7. I know. And she's already changed an entire industry. Temperature monitoring protocols are being revised across all major carriers. Real-time tracking systems being implemented. Her impact is..." He trails off. "Substantial." After he hangs up, Rochelle tells Amara. "The bad company is closed. Because of what you told the investigators." Amara processes this. "So no more bad food on planes?" "They're working on making sure of it." "Good." That's all she says. Good. Like stopping a systemic failure is just another thing to check off her mental list. Like changing an industry is as simple as knocking a fork against a tray table. Like courage is just what you do when something's wrong. They board their flight home. This time, Amara inspects her meal tray herself. Sniffs. Examines. Evaluates. Then nods and eats. And Rochelle realizes. Her daughter will never trust blindly again. Will always question. Always verify. Always speak up. Whether the world is ready to listen or not. Home smells like safety. Their apartment in Decatur, small, worn, but theirs, welcomes them back with familiar creaks and the faint smell of Rochelle's vanilla candles. Amara immediately goes to her room. Unpacks her coloring books. Arranges her stuffed animals in their proper positions. Routine. Order. Normal. Rochelle wishes she could give her more of it. The next morning, the school calls again. Not Principal Matthews this time. The district superintendent. Ms. Jensen, we've been fielding requests from media outlets wanting to feature Amara. We need to establish a protocol. The protocol is no, Rochelle interrupts. No interviews at school. No photographers. No disruption to her education. We support that completely. But we're also being asked about safety assemblies. The PTA is very insistent. Let me talk to Amara. Then I'll decide. She hangs up. Finds her daughter in her room, coloring intensely. Baby? Can we talk about something? Amara doesn't look up. Is it about the plane again? Kind of. Your school wants you to talk to other kids about what happened. Why? They think it would help other children learn to speak up when something's wrong. Amara's crayon pauses. Like teaching them? Exactly like that. Would I have to talk in front of everyone? Probably. In the auditorium. Amara's shoulders tense. That's a lot of people. It is. What if I mess up? You wouldn't. But you also don't have to do it if you don't want to. Amara sets down her crayon. Thinks. Will the other kids think I'm showing off? The question breaks Rochelle's heart. Because of course that's what she's worried about. Not the attention. Not the pressure. But whether her peers will think she's seeking glory rather than sharing truth. Some might, Rochelle answers honestly. Some people don't understand the difference between being brave and being a show-off. I don't want to show off. I know, baby. But... Amara hesitates. What if there's another kid like me? Who notices when something's wrong but is scared to say it? What if my story helps them be brave? Rochelle sits on the floor beside her daughter's chair. Then that would be pretty amazing. But scary. The best things usually are. Amara picks up her crayon again. Colors silently for a minute. Then, okay. I'll do it. But only if you're there. Wild horses couldn't keep me away. The assembly is scheduled for the following Tuesday. 4 days to prepare. 4 days for Rochelle to second-guess everything. Is she pushing Amara into the spotlight? Or supporting her choice? Is this empowering? Or exploitative? Is she a good mother? Or a terrible one? She doesn't know. She just knows that when Amara practices her speech, 3 minutes, written with Rochelle's help, her daughter's voice shakes but doesn't break. My name is Amara. I'm in 2nd grade. And I want to tell you about the day I got scared on an airplane. I'm not special. I just pay attention to things. Especially food, because I have allergies that make me sick. When the flight attendant gave me lunch, something smelled wrong. And I was scared to say anything because adults usually know better than kids. But my mom always tells me to trust myself. So I did. And it turned out I was right. I'm telling you this because sometimes grown-ups are wrong. And sometimes kids notice things adults miss. So if something feels wrong, really wrong, tell someone. Keep telling until someone listens. Because your voice matters. Even if you're scared. Even if you're small. Especially then. Rochelle cries every time Amara practices. Amara doesn't. She just delivers the words. Clear. Calm. True. The night before the assembly, Amara can't sleep. Rochelle finds her at 2 a.m., sitting on her bed in the dark. Nervous? Rochelle asks. What if I forget what to say? Then you speak from your heart instead of from the paper. What if kids make fun of me? Then they weren't listening. What if Amara's voice breaks? What if nothing changes? What if I do the scary thing and it doesn't matter? Rochelle sits beside her. Pulls her close. It already matters. You already changed things. The assembly is just one more way to share that. But what if it's not enough? Baby, you stopped an entire plane. Shut down a catering company. Changed airline safety protocols. Helped start a lawsuit that will protect thousands of people. She cups Amara's face. You're 7 years old. You've already done enough for a lifetime. Then why does it feel like I have to keep doing more? And there's the truth of it. The weight of being the person who spoke up. The burden of becoming a symbol. The exhaustion of courage. You don't have to do anything, Rochelle says firmly. We can cancel the assembly. Right now. Nobody will be mad. Amara is quiet for a long time. Then, no. I want to do it. I just needed to remember I want to. Not that I have to. That's the most important difference in the world. They sit together in the dark. Outside, Atlanta sleeps. Inside, a little girl gathers courage for morning. The auditorium is packed. Every student. Every teacher. Parents lining the back wall. Local news cameras, despite Rochelle's objections, Principal Matthews allowed them. Public interest, he'd said. Rochelle sits in the front row. Close enough to catch Amara if she falls. The principal does introductions. Too long. Too flowery. Then Amara walks on stage. Purple dress. Butterfly clips. 7 years old. Microphone lowered to her height. Spotlight making her squint. 300 faces watching. She looks at Rochelle. Rochelle nods. You've got this. Amara takes a breath. And speaks. Her voice is small at first. Trembling. But it grows. Sentence by sentence. Word by word. Until she's not reciting anymore. She's testifying. Sometimes grown-ups are wrong. And sometimes kids notice things adults miss. So if something feels wrong, really wrong, tell someone. Keep telling until someone listens. Because your voice matters. The auditorium is silent. Not uncomfortable silence. Reverent silence. The kind that happens when truth lands. When a child speaks wisdom that adults have forgotten. When courage becomes contagious. Amara finishes. Steps back from the microphone. The applause starts slowly. Then builds. Then becomes thunderous. 300 people on their feet. Cheering. Crying. Believing. And on stage, Amara just stands there. Not performing. Just being. A little girl who knocked a fork against a tray table. And changed everything. 3 months later, the lawsuit settles. $47 million distributed among affected passengers. New federal safety protocols implemented across all airlines. The catering company's executives face criminal charges. And Amara Jensen becomes the youngest person ever cited in FAA safety regulation reform. Her name, her actual name, appears in the official documentation. Permanent. Historical. Real. But that's not the part that matters to Amara. The part that matters happens on a random Tuesday in March. She's at the grocery store with Rochelle. A woman approaches, middle-aged, kind face, nervous energy. Excuse me. Are you Amara? From the airplane? Amara tenses. Nods. I wanted to thank you. My daughter was on one of the other flights. The one that got grounded because of what you found. She's diabetic. If she'd gotten food poisoning at altitude. The woman's voice breaks. You saved her. And she doesn't even know your name. Amara looks up at her mother. Rochelle smiles gently. She knows now, Rochelle says. The woman hugs Amara quickly. Whispers thank you 3 more times. Leaves. Amara stands in the cereal aisle, processing. That's the second one this week, she observes. Second stranger thanking you? Yeah. How does it feel? Amara considers. Weird. But good weird. They finish shopping. In the car, Amara asks, Mom? Do you think other kids will remember my speech? Some will. Some won't. Why? I just hope somebody remembers the important part. Which part? That your voice matters even when you're scared. Rochelle's throat tightens. I think they'll remember. That night, Rochelle gets an email. From a mother in Oregon. Subject line, your daughter inspired mine. Dear Ms. Jensen. My daughter, 8 years old, saw coverage of Amara's story. Last week, she noticed smoke coming from a neighbor's house while everyone else was at work. She called 911 even though she was scared to bother adults. The fire department arrived before the fire spread. The family's cat was rescued. She told the firefighters she did it because that girl on the airplane taught me to speak up even when I'm scared. Thank you for raising someone brave enough to teach mine. Rochelle reads it twice. Prints it. Adds it to the growing folder of letters. 43 so far. From parents. Teachers. Children. All saying the same thing. Amara's courage gave me courage. Amara's voice helped me find mine. Amara changed how I listen to my kids. Ripples. Spreading outward. Touching lives they'll never meet. Changing futures they'll never see. All because a 7-year-old girl knocked a plastic fork against a tray table. Real quick, if you've made it this far, we would really appreciate you to like this video and subscribe to this channel. We pour everything into stories like this and we've got viewers in over 120 countries watching right now. Drop a quick comment. Where are you watching from? Chicago? Los Angeles? London? Let us know in the comment. Alright, back to the story. 6 months after Flight 782, Rochelle receives one more letter. This one official. Federal Aviation Administration letterhead. Dear Ms. Jensen. We are pleased to inform you that new passenger safety protocols, including enhanced food handling monitoring and child passenger advocacy training for flight crews, will be implemented nationwide beginning January 1st. These regulations, informally known as Amara's protocols, were directly inspired by your daughter's actions aboard Flight 782. Thank you for raising a citizen who makes our skies safer. Rochelle shows Amara. Amara reads it slowly. They named it after me? They did. Forever. Forever. Amara processes this. That's a lot of responsibility. It is. Good thing I'm good at responsibility. She says it matter-of-factly. Returns to her homework. And Rochelle realizes. Her daughter isn't haunted by what happened. She's shaped by it. Not broken. Not traumatized. Just more. More aware. More certain. More herself. The girl who knocked a fork against a tray table. Who challenged authority. Who trusted herself. Who stopped a plane. Who changed an industry. Who taught the world that small voices can carry the biggest truths. But this isn't the end of Amara's story. Because 3 weeks later, another letter arrives. Different sender this time. Department of Justice. Criminal Investigation Division. United States vs. Meridian Catering Services, et al. Dear Ms. Jensen. Your daughter's deposition has been instrumental in our investigation. However, new evidence has emerged suggesting the negligence may extend beyond one catering company. We've identified a pattern of safety violations across multiple contractors serving major airlines nationwide. This investigation has expanded to include potential fraud and conspiracy charges. Your daughter may be called to testify at federal trial. Rochelle's hands go cold. Federal trial. Testimony. Public record. Her 7-year-old daughter, soon to be 8, may have to relive this moment in front of judges, juries, defense attorneys. May have to carry the weight of justice for thousands of people. May have to be brave one more time. Or 10 more times. Or however many times it takes. She sets the letter down. Walks to Amara's room. Finds her daughter asleep, butterfly clips still in her hair, coloring book open on her chest. Peaceful. Safe. Small. Rochelle kisses her forehead. And wonders how long she'll get to stay this way. How long before the world needs her to be bigger than 7. Braver than most adults. Stronger than anyone should have to be. Because some people change the world by accident. And then the world won't let them stop. Rochelle turns off the light. Closes the door. And prepares for whatever comes next. Because the plane may have stopped. But Amara's journey? That's still flying.